All right, good afternoon.
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. What intrigued you about Martavis Bryant after this prolonged period out of the league, and do you envision him in any sort of role this season, or is that to be determined based on what he does?
I mean, everything's to be determined, but I just think like anything is history, and Will was in the personnel staff was looking at him last week, and once he was reinstated, and we worked him out yesterday. So worked him out, put him on the board. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to take a look at him.
He's a little taller receiver than what you have in the building right now. Is that something that goes into the conversation?
I mean, it's all part of it. I mean, he's, and obviously, his history, but yeah, vertical, receiver, and really we want to take a look at him. But he's really done a nice job today, starting last night actually. So we'll see how it goes.
Clarence Hill, Forward Star Telegram. Can you talk about the research I've done on what he's gone through, and what do you know about his process and his journey, and what makes y'all comfortable that he
Yes, I mean, honestly, it's thorough. It's not really for me to speak on, but I know my time with him. We all have people in the business that so I've heard nothing but good things about him as a person, clearly understand what he's been through, with reinstatement and so forth. And I mean, this is a huge opportunity for him. So I just want to make sure he has the support and what he needs to be successful. And and he obviously has a big task ahead of him, just from the standpoint of language. He has to learn a new language, and it's at this time of year, it's tougher than obviously coming here in April. So.
Is this move for now, for the future, or can you even determine that?
I can't. Yeah, I can't determine it right now.
Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. You guys are saying you're running your own race. How much is that even more important this week when you're facing a team that's going through a lot of issues, and you're such a big, heavy favorite in this one that it's just?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, in this type of game, is just really keeping your eye on the ball, and that's really, we need to get win number 6. We need to improve from last week. Our emphasis is on the details and the little things. So, and the fact of the matter, we're playing at home, and that's been very important for us, and we just need to take care of business.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Practice schedule flipped around a little bit. What was the thought process there?
Oh, just trusting the numbers. I mean, there's things that you do as far as looking at the off season, look at last year, what's ahead. The Thursday schedule's around the corner. So coming out of a big game, so just there's numbers that are looked at. So I'm just trusting the numbers.
Skyler.
Skyler with the AP, following up on that a little bit. How much of it is sort of peeking around the corner to Thanksgiving, and now that you've been through this Thanksgiving routine a few times, how have you kind of seen that?
Yeah, it's all part of it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really what I was referring to about you chart out your season. This second trimester is is different. Because it's those last 3 games are different, and how did we go through it last year? So I've had 2 years to really look at it, and in the stress of December, being on the road 3 out of the last 4. I mean, you look at all those things in the summer. So I've always set the whole schedule for the year, but then once you get to November, because in the past, if you weren't playing on Thanksgiving, I'd go to a winter schedule in the middle of November. But you really can't do that until after that second Thursday game, Seattle, because you're in a totally different schedule, because you're playing on a short week and then flipping around and playing 7 days later on Thursday night. So and I think the easiest explanation is just trusting the numbers, the research, listening to last year, listen to the training staff, listen to the strength staff. So we're going to make sure we're ready to go, make sure we're ready to get the preparation we need to win the game Sunday. But you definitely have to chart out the long game in a 17-game season. I mean, I think that's all part of the NFL.
Like Jeff Gold with Fox 4, what are the things you can point to for the success at home? All 3 home games this year, you can over 20 points, 11 straight wins in a row at home.
Well, I think like anything, I mean, home, I mean, you start with the crowd, the stadium, the environment. I mean, it's there's a routine to it, and I think we've actually adjusted our routine some, the last year and a half, and I think it's put our guys in a good flow, and that's the oldest formula to me out there. Win all your home games, and if you can not only split on the road, you're probably where you need to be to get in the playoffs.
Joe Hoyt, Lone Star Live. Kind of going back to last year, what did you really see from Jake Ferguson that kind of warranted, given the opportunities that he's taking advantage of?
Well, I think Jake's always taking advantage of his opportunities. Obviously, they were limited last year because he was in a role as a role player, but he really didn't have the weight behind him last year. I mean, I think just like all these young guys coming out of college, it's different. The 17 games is different. It's a longer year. So Jake had a great offseason and has really prepared himself for the long game of playing potentially 20 games. You could just see that in the changes he's made in his body. And then obviously with his opportunity now being a starter, he's getting better and better each week. And, the connection between him and Dak I think has really grown.
That it? Todd?
Mike, with Tyron, I know he had an illness today and he was listed as DNP, but do you anticipate following like the practice schedule you guys did last week with him and not work him on Wednesday, Thursdays and bulk him up?
Yeah, it's definitely an option, yes.
Scott?
You mentioned a little earlier, we got to take care of business. We perceive a game like this as a taking care of business game. I wonder, as a coach, how much concern is there coming off such a high-profile game and then into this one? Is there anything you feel like you have to tell the guys, they kind of take care of that?
Well, definitely no. I mean, there's a lot that went into the game. I actually, still reviewed the overall game with the team this morning, and the whole thought process of that is always what do you need to emphasize pushing forward. So, but make no bones about it. This is another division game. These division games are always tough. So you look at last year's game, at home was a tough game, especially the way it started. So that's what we're preparing for.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. We often talk about Micah in terms of his rush plan. He's really just reacting to the offensive lineman that he's facing. For Tyron, the way that he can trap block a guy based on how he's being rushed, is that similar? And what goes into just him being able to be so reactive with his hands?
Well, I think like anything, I mean, he's played a lot of football, so I mean, and it's knowing your weapons and understanding the tendencies of the others. So a big part of what we do, and that's why you meet as long as you do, and particularly the individual coaches. It's we all. It isn't like we're inventing new plays. We're giving things that maybe a different formation, different personnel group, but the real money is in the little things, and that's the game within the game. And the techniques of how you're going to play a guy, what are the tips, the mannerisms to play off of to execute those things.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, Tyler Smith's one of the highest rated guards in the NFL. Where have you seen him take sort of the biggest progression and step forward in his game?
I think the biggest thing is he's been able to get some continuity. He's playing one position. He's not split. His reps were split last year, leading up to the season, and then where he finally played. So I think he's very comfortable now at guard. The fact that he's been able to play some next to Tyron, hopefully it's something that continues, because I thought our left side had the best performances since I've been here. And those two guys, it'd be great if they play a lot of football together.
Mike, Jacob Denton wanted the ticket. With Terrence Steele, with his type of injury, one of the things we always hear is the last thing to come back is that lateral movement, being able to cut, and having faith in that knee. Do you think Terrence has faith in that knee injury, and are you seeing that? It would seem to come into play more in pass blocking than anything else.
I think you make a lot of excellent points, and I think clearly anybody that's coming off a major joint injury, whether it's Tony Pollard, Michael Gallup last year, I mean there's always things you have to go through the first time. There's the knee's different. It's not the same. So and it's healed, and he's done a great job preparing for this. But yeah, he's definitely going to go through some things, and and that's part of that first year back.
along those lines, Jordan Lewis, how have you seen him do the same?
Yeah, same deal. I think really, and he's someone, I pay close attention to, on how much he's out there and so forth, because, that's, that was a significant injury also. So, but, you just look for the signs and just try to be smart with it. And frankly, I think a lot of it too for both Terrence and Jay Lou is the fact that they did the rehab here, so they have the connection with Britt Brown. There's a clear understanding of their movements, the movement paths and things that they did leading up to this, and the indicators that you look for. So, and that's really what we talk about when we get in those medical meetings.
All righty, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.